but you just look at the list of all the bulls are in there on that front page. And you see Guernsey, Holstein, Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, there's as many Guernseys as there was Holstein Jerseys combined.
Well, Guernseys were the prominent breed, right?
My dad was kind of a cattle dealer and a butcher. But we always had cattle around, and when I was little, I wanted a Guernsey calf. Of course, everybody in the county wanted a Guernsey calf. And then I got in high school, and we bought the ag teacher at Mount Baker, Glenn Ziegler, had about 5 Jersey cow herd. This would have been in about 58, 57, and we bought that and milked them. And he was still dealing cattle. Showed jerseys a couple of years when I was in high school. And then I started milking cows in high school for a lot of different guys. Sherman and I have been friends since, all through grade school we were. And got interested in Holsteins, and then I went with Henry Polander to state sale. Got to know Archie and Ray Nelson. They showed cattle, and the state sent a state herd to Salt Lake City, into Waterloo, Iowa, and then back to Portland as advertisement for the national convention that was going to happen the next year. Dale Tennyson, the youngest of the Tennysons, and I rode along. We had a boxcar, Carnation had a boxcar in front of us. Al Hay and George Johnson, they were both Al Hay. Well, there's Al Hay Memorial, they give awards for him, but they kind of chaperoned us. I turned 21 on the trip. Dale was probably 22 or 23, and so that took us from Labor Day until about the 25th of October. John Tennyson, Glenn, his brother, and Archie and Ray had a sales deal, and then I would work for them at sales and doing some fitting, and hauled cattle to Utah to a couple state sales there for them, and that's how I got interested in the registered and the showing end of it. And Dad and I were milking about 30 cows then, and Century Breeders was a small stud that they had started after that trip to Waterloo. That it was in October I got home. Then that next spring, which would have been in '64, they started their AI, and John wanted me to breed cows up here, so they taught me to breed cows, and I did that for a little while, and then I decided it wasn't what I was going to do, so I went back to school again. I had a couple years in. I went back to, I had been at Skagit Valley, went to Western, and soon learned there that being a teacher was not going to be my thing. So then got married and got a job, and still worked with cows at home with Dad, but I was hauling meat to Seattle all the time. And then one day I come back from there and got home at the sale barn. I stopped there for lunch. And Lyndon and Murray Anderson was a field man for All West then, because we had a lot of technicians from here to Seattle, and that was his area. He was waiting by my truck, and when I got out, he said, "Archie said it's time you learn how to breed cows again." So I went and talked to Archie. He was sire analyst then, because All West had bought out Century Breeders, and then I went. So I started breeding cows for them. Worked in Skagit for about 8 months, and then I moved up here. And then, all the sire SMS guys came when I had, they had a meeting here in Burlington, their deal, and then I had, I think it was at that time, 8 or 9 Marstoney daughters out of about 30 cows, and 4 of them were excellent time, and 5 of them ended up to be excellent cows. Just that part of it was all fun. That's how I ended up wearing. I kept my cows all the time. Dad helped. He was working, I was working, and then he retired, so he was around. And then he had a stroke, and he couldn't help me anymore. And it only took me about 4 months to figure out that I either had a farm or I had to take breeding cows more serious. But when I had to make the choice, farming or not, I despise tractors, don't really like dirt. Manure's okay, I can live with manure, but cows and manure are the only two parts of dairy, and I sold the cows and then just started breeding cows full time.
Do you think it helped, having a farm help you relate to your customers?
Oh yeah, immensely, you know. Both on knowing what their struggles were, but more so when you drove on the yard, you understood if there was a cow down, well, you tried to help if you could, or it was immensely so. You get to work with the farmers and then their kids, and I think we've talked before, but there was two of them that are of interest. The one that comes to mind, I was breeding for the guy, and then his son turned 8, and then he said, when I came there, he said, "You got to see what I got for my birthday," and it was a black lab. So I said, "That's nice, you know." Time went on, and he got married and had kids. And one day I came there, his kid came up to me, "You got to go see what I got for my birthday." A black lab pup. I said, there it was, 20 years apart, the same exact thing. And then the neatest one, I've been, Rod DeYoung, just a couple years older than I had Eagle Male. But I bred some cows for his dad, who was a cattle dealer and a small farmer. And then when Rod took over, he built the herd and bigger and got bigger, and I mated cows. I didn't breed many cows there because he wasn't in my area. And then 20 years later, John, his oldest son, there's 2 more boys, John, Jeff, and Mark, are all involved with Rod now. And John was the oldest, and we work together all the time now. And then last year, his son was sick, or not quite 16, he wasn't driving yet, but then I bred a couple cows for him. It was the first time, cows that were in his name. And so that was 4 generations, you know, and they're all really nice people. And Adria Hahn was the office lady there in the old building, and like we said, she worked 23 years, and her son started farming. He graduated from the University of Wyoming with a degree in math, which doesn't mean dairy, but he wanted to. So they got married and bought a farm that I was breeding at, and then I bred for them. And then when Ray retired and I took over sales, then Cheryl, his wife, come out and said that I can't quit breeding yet. And I says, well, yeah, why not? She said, because you raised the 3 oldest and the last one is still got a senior year to go. You can't quit now. And but that's just the relationship you build with them, so many of them. When I was breeding cows, especially the last 15 years of breeding, guys were getting bigger. The early years, 50 years ago, 45, you know, the guys had 15 cows, so you know how many times you saw them in a year, you know, 3 times, once a week at the most, you know. But when you started breeding like the Hans with their daughter still having to graduate, you know, you saw them 5, 6 times a week, you know, and you become part of their family. I had a lot of advantages because I worked the area, I bred for a lot of guys, I milked and worked on farms, and I knew a lot of people in the area I was working, and even though they weren't, and no, everybody knew me pretty well, and I knew them. That's just like when new guys start. I always have this one example I've used forever. I had a milked for my mom's cousin, so my second cousin, and we were good friends, and you know, well, that's one I can pick up, you know, and probably took 18 years, you know, just he was loyal to where he was at, and so I said, you can't give up, but don't think that the surest one is going to be the one. And then I had another fella that I just knew him and dropped in, and he said, Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable, but I'll look at that. And then he called me. He said, "Well, this one Fox Leaf Explosion was just a young bull. You know, we're talking sometime we had him before we went with Select, so it was in early '70s probably." And he said, "I just like to do that. I'll call for him a couple times." And 2 months later, I was breeding the whole herd. You know, so. Yeah, but to be a cold call or to find time, when I was building, by the time you needed to get to certain people, the head guys, I knew the head guys, so it wasn't like a young guy coming in to one of these bigger farms and wanting to know, well, who do you talk to here? You know, I was at Benjamin's that was less than a year ago, and in the office putting semen in the tank, and this guy come in and he said, "Is the boss here? You're just putting semen in, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "When you were coming in, did you see that gal? Did you run into a gal?" He said, "You mean that little girl with the AI guns down her shirt?" I said, "Yeah, that's who you got to talk to."
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh." So I don't know if he totally ignored her, but knowing Ruby, she might have just acted like she was one of the workers there, you know. Yeah, I never had to do much of that cold calling, or I don't think I ever went to a farmer that I didn't know before I went there. You know, I'd met him at sale barns or at Holstein things or farm things, so I would have never been a good cold call salesman, I know that. Well, several times at the fair, I guess. You see kids with their 4-H, you know, and just see them win and get all excited, you know, and then look you up afterwards. "Were you there? Did you see me?" You know, yeah, and then Dad and Mom being just about as excited as the kids, you know, that type of stuff. You go with a classifier to a guy, and guy gets his first excellent cow, you know, he's all excited, and semen sales started. Bill Turner was selling, and I don't know if he was going to retire or what, and Archie wanted me to do that. Of course, then it was different because Turner covered everything from Olympia north, and he was gone all the time, and I couldn't do that with cows, and there was a lot of cold calling because that was a whole new game then. Most guys didn't have tanks, so you'd go there trying to, and I rode with him 2 days, and I knew that wasn't it. And I struggled with taking it from Ray. If he would have quit 10 years earlier, I might not have. But I could see, because at that time, I was just starting to paint herds. There was no pedometers at that time, and but paint was a big thing, and that was, everybody's getting bigger, and it was hard work, and the older you get, I knew that the gates got higher the older I got, and so I thought I'd better give it a try. So I took it on, and the first 3 or 4 months weren't good because there wasn't nothing to do on Saturdays. Sundays were fine because church, I always hurried home to get church and family things, but Saturdays weren't a good day. And so yeah, no, that but that has really worked out well, especially now with the bigger herds. And what I enjoyed all the time about breeding cows was socializing with the farmer over the mating. You know, now you don't see the farmers, the technicians come and breed cows. Hopefully most of them are mated, and you just follow the numbers, and it's an arm game. And that wasn't what I enjoyed about, and that now I can do that with the farmers. New proofs come, and then, you know, whoever wants to, we go have lunch and discuss what's new and what's available if you want to change. And that's like we said earlier, there's 100 different ways of farming. Well, there's 100 different opinions on what bull they want to use, you know. After breeding for guys for 35 years, they saw cows the right way, my way. Then I had to go out in the field, and some of these people were thinking for themselves, and I had to adapt. But I learned a lot, you know, because at that time it was still purebred, a lot of interest in purebreds. And I mean, I could see the real show cow was not what the commercial guy needed. but I did like the big cat. And he said, what do you think of the bull? And I said, well, he's got a lot of pounds of fat and protein, but we got about 140, 50 bulls between genomics and proven, and he's the poorest udder bull we have. And but he said, with mating, we can eliminate some of that. And I said, yeah, it'll definitely help, because Maynard does a good job of mating for him. But I said, the only thing I'll say about it, and then you can buy them or not, is just remember who told you not to buy them when the daughter's calf, because that's probably the biggest thing that I tell people when I'm working with these young guys. I said, you can grab any bull out of the tank, but try to do your best, because if you're going to stay at All West, you're going to have to live with that cow 3 years from now. I mean, she's going to show up, and if there's 4 teeth sticking out 4 ways, the farmer's going to grab you quick and show you how good you were at picking bulls. I started selling Old Man was out, and then he had so many traits that weren't desirable in a lot of ways, but he had a lot that the commercial man wanted and needed, and so he was so dominant, and we all know that, what he ended up doing for the breed. Just for you, a cute side story, Dave Germany, you ever know Dave Germany?
Heard the name.
Heard the name, yeah. He worked up here. He was a farmer, good cow man, really probably best cow man we ever had in the county when he worked relief here, but he quit farming, and then the job in Tillamook came up, and Harold sent him down there, and one day about Old Man, and he said, well, I'm going down to Tillamook, and there's somebody that's milking a lot of them. And he said, I'll call you after I've seen them all, let you know. So he called one day, and he said, I've seen them. And I said, well, what do you think? He said, they're little runts. They walk downhill. They got feet and legs like brown Swiss. They got udders that'll last. They're not pretty. But he said they got one really bad trait. Them little suckers are never going to die. Using them more after I saw T.J. Vienaker dairy got 3 of them out of 5 units of semen on PGA, and when they calved, he came out with the good proof, and they were like Dave said, you know, he described them pretty well. But then more and more people wanted to use them, so I went back 2 years later when they were on their 3rd calf, and they were all there. Their udders were no different than they were, and they grew into immense cows. Jim Henderson, you know Jim, he was classifying, and he was not a friend of Old Man. And I said, oh, there's some good ones. And he said, I'll never see them. And so we were at Eagle Mill Farms, and there was about 5 of them going to go through there. And he scored a couple and made I forget what it was, very good. And then he got another cow came through. Oh, this looks like that last one. This was a good one. And, 86. And about 2 cows later, 86. I said, you know them last 2 86s, what they were? They were Old Man. He said, let's go look at them again. And then I forget, I was talking to somebody just not too long ago, and they said, Henderson said that really the only good Old Mans were in Northwest Washington. Cow families have huge relevance. You just look at the bulls that are coming through. Every once in a while, a bull will come through out of a ordinary pedigree that you don't expect it. But most of, especially with these genomic bulls now, I mean, probably to me, one of the more genetic freaks was Planet. You know, you look at his list of sires behind him, it's disaster. And yet the influence he's had is immense. And, but now all his sons and grandsons and all these high genomic bulls that come through, all these, well, that we sell are all a lot of good cow families that people really want. They get the better linears right away, but they also the proven bulls that come through, they got good cow families behind them, most of them. The ones that are complete, I mean, the outliers, which we got to have some that do extreme things, health traits or whatever. A lot of them don't have quite as solid a cow family, but the ones that are putting out the complete cows, you look at a mogul, you know, the sires and the cows are all solid cows behind them, you know, and when you get into type, Dahlia and all her generations on, you know, they just hold firm, you know, if they're used properly. And yeah, no, I think good cows breed good cows. It's not a guarantee, but it definitely does come true. Chichester was a great leader, but I think it's like any leaders, no matter where you're at, but in AI, they hire good people, and that's what Dick did. I mean, when we first went with him, Hecker would come out here, and he was just a pleasure to be around. And Hoyt, and with the Young Sire program when he started that, they all took time to come out, be part of it, explain what was going on, and was interested. Ron Long started SMS, but he mated cows in the county here, several herds for a while, until it was a bigger thing than he could handle. Charlie, and then a lot of the newer guys that have come along going to be the same way as them, you know. You mentioned a lot of names, but they're not afraid to spend time with you, and I did it with Ron for 20, 25 years, and then he disappeared, so Charlie's had to bear with me, but I'll give him a call when new bulls come out, or, you know, probably every other month. Yeah, it's just quality of people in the same that we've had here, you know. But they know their business, and yeah, they're people, and that's what it takes. Very much so. That probably the biggest thing, it's a service organization. Don't ever forget that. Other people don't have our bulls right now, but they might, and you better be given the service. And well, it's a family thing, but you got to treat them as you want to be treated, and yeah, get to know them and take care of them, and